Hi, it's Bronwyn, and it is time for the first Thinking Thursday of 2021. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. We have a lot to talk about this year as we start this year. I am excited about us getting started. And before I tell you the topic, you know what we have to do. We've got to breathe. Now, 2020 was quite a challenging year. And as such, there's quite a bit of breathing we might need to do. We have survived. We've made it through. Whatever made it through looks like for you, you have made it through and you're on the other side of 2020. We're in 2021. And tonight we're going to talk about how can we make that 2021 turn into a 2020 wonderful and make it wonderful for us. It's a challenge. For some people, 2021 has started with more obstacles than 2020 had, but we're here. We are here. And because we are here, we want to make it wonderful. We want to make it work. So let's take our deep breaths. If this is your first time joining us, let me tell you why we take deep breaths. When you take a deep breath, you're taking deep air and oxygen into your body, and it allows your body to relax. It allows it to get to a calming place, a better place. It allows more oxygen to go into your brain, and you can think clearly. That's why if you're upset, if you're angry, and you take some deep cleansing breaths, it has a tendency to calm you down. So we're going to do that tonight. As I count into 4, you're going to breathe slowly in. As I count out and tell you to breathe out, exhale, you'll do that. So let's practice it. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. One more. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully, you had a chance to have a woo-saw moment and relax and just chill for a moment. I'm hoping that will work for you. Well, tonight we're going to talk about this new year, 2021, and how to make it 2020 wonderful. As I said, for some people, it already started off with a bang. It started off with like, really? This is not the year I want already. People have lost loved ones. People have lost jobs. People have just had some challenges already in 2021. I am trying to see you guys on Facebook as well as see it here, and it's not doing that for me either because I definitely want you to comment later on. But we'll just figure it out as we go along and just make it happen. So, tonight we are going to talk about life in 2021. So, I'm going to share my screen so that you can see what's going on. So, yes, it's Thinking Thursday with Bronwyn Lucas of Able Counseling and Consulting. That's me. Excuse me. And we are going to talk about making 2021 2020 wonderful. There's a saying that's very true. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. You know, we've got to think about it and make some plans. No, not resolutions. Plans for 2021. What do you want to happen? If you fail to make a plan, you will fail. 2020 taught us, however, that man, I can make all the plans I want and who knows what's going to happen. That is correct. Your plan may not work, but it just might work. And if you at least have a plan in place, you have the ability to know what you want to do, where you want to go. So when things change, you adjust and modify and move on. That's just the way it is. That's the way we have to do it. So that's where we're going with this. We'll adjust and modify. So, what do we have plans for this year? Do you have plans for your finances? A lot of people had plans at the beginning of 2021, and the plans they made, well, they changed. Do you have plans to transform your body and transform physically, eat differently, exercise, do things differently with your body? Do you have spiritual plans? Now, the reason I chose these three areas, if you get these three areas together, you're pretty good. Getting these three can transform your life. So when we look at our plans, we're going to look at some SMART goals. And as I said, I want you guys to chime in, but I'm not seeing it. So I'm not sure. There it is. I see you now. So if you have any comments, I would love to see them. Let me know what you're thinking. If you have some goals, let me know what they are. Share them with us. And in speaking of sharing, take a moment, look at the screen where you are. Underneath the picture, you'll see the word share. Click on share and share it with a friend. There may be someone who needs this information. So let's quickly look at what does it mean to have a SMART goal? Well, SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time. This is my take on SMART. It's specific. It's not, oh, I'm going to lose weight this year. Okay. How much? When? Where? How? Decide what you want to do and make it measurable. I want to lose 20 pounds by July 6th. I want to spend an hour in the Word reading my Bible. I want to do that by March 15th. And choose something that you can attain. Is it something you can really do? Is it realistic? And I like to start off small, and we'll talk about that. Don't start off saying, starting next week, I'm going to run a mile every day, and you haven't run in 10 years. Maybe the goal is, starting next week, I'm going to get out and maybe I'll walk a mile, maybe I'll walk 15 minutes, but do something that's attainable. So there may be baby steps to get to your big steps. And then have it time limited. When are you going to do it? Instead of, I'm just going to lose weight this year. How much? When? So SMART goals, when you're planning and making your plan, think of it in terms of SMART goals. This is a good guide for planning for 2021. So when I looked at financial, physical, and spiritual, I really couldn't decide which one to go first. So I just did them in alphabetical order. So that's the order we're going in today. So under finances, what can you do? Make yourself aware of what you have. How many of you have spent money or had, especially if you just have cash in your hand, and you're out for a day and you get home and you're like, where did that go? I know I had a 20, and once you break the 20, it's like, it's gone. And you're like, and where did it go? Make yourself aware of what you have. Access your funds. Some people will do a thing where you write down everything you spend for a week or two. And then you look at it and you begin to realize, I spent that much money eating out, because you're not even aware of it. Or I spent that much money on this. Is that really how much I spend on gas? Because sometimes we go through and we're not even thinking about it. We're just doing it. So think about what you're spending so that you're able to get a grip on what you're spending. That's a first step. And these are just I'm going to give basic tips in all of these areas. Chime in the chat and tell me some things you might do. But be aware. I bet there's some of you out there aren't aware of how much you're spending. And then you're like, well, I don't have any money. I know I'm not spending anything. You're spending something. Be aware of it. Figure out what it is you're spending, where it's going, and how you might Keep a little more that you have. And to do that, you make a budget. I put the other step first, making yourself aware of what you're spending because you need to. That might guide your budget. You might realize, oh, I need to allocate more money over here because I'm really doing it. For instance, 2 years ago, I worked in Dallas. I would need to fill up every week. And actually, by Friday, I needed to fill up. I filled up on Sunday. So I would fill up on fill up my car with gas on Sunday. By Friday, it was like, oh, I need some more. And then I would fill up on Sunday just to start the week off full. Now, with COVID, I put gas in the car Friday before last. It's just now needing gas because I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here in Arlington. I worked in Dallas and lived in Arlington, so I drove 50 miles round trip a day. Now, I some days I can barely go 5 miles a day. So if I have a budget, my line item for gas is very different. Now, how many of you out there have no clue how to make a budget? Okay, you're not the only one. Google is your friend. You can Google budget. I did it today to see what will come up. Things will come up such as budget for family of four, budget for a single person, budget for this. You can type in your situation and maybe even budget for someone who makes whatever, and you put in your salary. You don't have to think alone. Yes, it would be wonderful to be able to go to a financial planner, but maybe you can't afford it. Budget, look at it, decide how you want to spend your money, figure out where your money is going. Make money on the side, have that side hustle. Have 2 to 3 streams of income if you can. Now, I know there are people out there, I'm working 50, 60 hours a week, really trying to tell me that I need to go work somewhere else. Well, maybe your second stream of income is some passive income. If you have enough, maybe it could be something like you do want to go and buy and sell property, flip houses. Not everybody's there yet. Maybe you just want to have a little cookie baking or candy making business on the side. So there are ways that you can maybe start that side hustle. But having 2 to 3 or more streams of income, if you lose your job, you still have something coming in. If you have those multiple streams of income, maybe that could be your fun money. You have your job, and that's the serious income. You are paying your bills, you're saving, and we'll get to that. But maybe one of those little side hustles. I work this job because I like to travel, and the money from here, that's my travel money. And that is fine. Or maybe I'm saving for retirement and I know my pension plan is not enough. So all the money on this side hustle goes into that. So I can have more matching money. But whatever you do, have multiple streams of income. Keep it coming in. Let it come in. It's really okay. Another thing, make debt go away. Begin to pay off your debts. And part of making the debt go away is also don't create new debt. If you're charging things, if you're just buying more than you need, even if you need it, do you really need it? So decrease your debt. Decreasing your debt can also raise your credit score, but never better credit score to get more in the debt. But decrease your debt. Sometimes you can't even, it's just not that way. Sometimes you have to increase your debt. When COVID first hit and I wasn't working, my refrigerator died. My computer died. Well, I was beginning to work and do teletherapy. You cannot do teletherapy without a computer. On the phone was not going to work. Needed a computer because you have to keep records and files. So yeah, computer was important. Had to have it, so had to get it. Had to charge it, but I found a no interest way to charge it, pay it off shortly, and I'm good. So if you have to get into debt smartly. Don't just, and don't get into unnecessary debt. Make your money make money. That's another way of saying invest. Now, I know there's somebody out there that's saying, I don't have enough to invest. I don't have enough to save. Here's a tip about saving. Even if you feel like you have no money to save, and trust me, I get that. But what if every paycheck you put aside $5? You could start a separate bank account and have it deducted out of your account. You can automatic transfer $5 every pay period. When things get better, you can increase it. But you get into the habit of paying yourself. Let your money make money for you. And then later you can work to invest it. But until then, save something. The thing about our financial health, when that's these three things are in order, man, your life's going to be in order. When your finances are in order, you're going to feel better. Now, there's a lot you can and can't do to get it in order because life. But do those little things. Okay, I'm going to put five. I'm on Social Security. I'm on a pension. Still save $5 out of this Social Security check and put it aside and put it aside. And when that rainy day comes, you'll have some money. Maybe you're in a rainy day now. Maybe you're in a thunderstorm now. Maybe you can put back $1 because, and maybe you're spending the money that you were able to save. But these are just some simple things. Tonight is all about the simple. These topics that I'm discussing tonight, I plan to have someone on throughout the year in each of these areas to talk more in depth. But as we start the year and we want it to be 2020 wonderful, these are three areas we definitely can attack. So the next one is our physical. Let's think about the physical. But before I move on too far to the physical, tell me this. Type in somewhere in the comment area some of your goals for financial health. Do you have any? Or tips you want to share, and I will read them. What are some things you are doing for financial health? Now, the beginning of the year before COVID, one of the biggest industries in January was the gyms and spas. Everybody was signing up to some, I don't want to call any names, but all of the mega gyms. Everybody wanted to go and they had these great specials and you were locked in for a year because they knew after a few weeks you were going to die out. So they got you locked into this contract because you knew, man, I'm set. It's those resolutions. That's why I'm saying let's make a plan for life changes. You made those wonderful resolutions and you were going to change and it was going to be better. You were going to be physically fit. You're going to lose 100 pounds. You're going to run every day. And after about 3 weeks or maybe 3 days, it changed. So let's see. One of the ways to make the physical better is make yourself a priority. Because one of the things that gets in the way is I don't have time. I'm too tired. I've got to go do this. I've got to go do that. Make yourself a priority. Not an easy thing. So here's some tips to making yourself a priority. Let's say you work outside the home. If you want to just get a little more movement in terms of the physical part of making yourself a priority, don't park as close to the building. If it's raining, you get as close as you can. But walk a little further. Instead of parking in the first parking spot, okay, go down to the third, then the fifth, and then on further down, so that you have to walk a little further just to get into work. Take the stairs. Now, if you work on the 23rd floor, maybe not that one, but take the stairs to the 20th floor and walk up 3 flights. Initially, take it to the 22nd floor, walk up 1 flight. But do little things. I believe in baby steps. I'm a firm believer in you don't have to force yourself to make big changes right away. Make some little changes. Okay, I'm going to take some baby steps. I will walk up 1 flight of stairs. That's awesome. It's a couple of 100 calories you're burning. That's that much closer to making your heart healthier because you're moving. And after a while, you know what? I'm going to take 2 flights of steps. Okay, what if you're working at home like so many of us? Plan movement in your day. So for me, it's now on my calendar. I want to get in 15 to 30 minutes of movement a day. When it was a little warmer out, I would go walking twice a day for 15 minutes. And I already had my little route out. And I knew where I'm going to the end of the block, down to the first light. back 15 minutes. I'm good. And do it twice a day. So I'm getting 30 minutes in, and it breaks it up because the nature of my job, I'm sitting all day, not healthy. So when it's yucky or when it's cold and I just don't want to go outside, I take movement in the house. If you think it's hard to, oh, well, I don't know what to do. Again, YouTube is your friend. You can type in exercise for somebody over 60. You can type in chair exercise. You can type in yoga for fat people because you're like, I am too big to do all this yoga stuff. All of those can be found on YouTube. So there is an exercise and a movement to fit where you are. So whether you think your age is a barrier, your size is a barrier, not true. There is something for you. Make yourself self-aware of what goes in your mouth. You know, there's a computer term years ago, junk in, junk out. Same for our body. And as I say at the beginning of the year, we think healthy, but we should think healthy year long. A lot of churches begin the year with a fast. Some are doing the Daniel fast, some are doing just fast what you need to fast for. They go from a week to 21 days to 40 days. That is a good way to get yourself started. And I encourage you, some of the things you're giving up for the fast, maybe those are things you need to give up or decrease. Some people are giving up caffeine. And man, that's hard at first because your body is so used to it. And then so you go through 21 or 40 days and your body is like, whoo, I'm feeling good. I don't have that caffeine in it. And the first thing you want on day 41, if it's a 40-day fast, I'm going to be there getting my cup of coffee. Well, maybe if you're that in need of it and you've gone 40 days, you have proven you don't have to have it every day and you can survive. You can indeed survive without it. So, what do? Don't drink it every day. When you make those changes because you're fasting, let that be a catalyst for change for you. Let yourself realize, oh, I can do these things for myself. Be aware. If you have health challenges, there can be changes that can come because based on what you eat. You can, and some of them are obvious. It's like if you're diabetic, cutting back on your carbs and sugar can be beneficial. If you have high blood pressure, cutting back on high sodium foods can be beneficial. But there are other health challenges you can look up and study and find out, oh, I don't need to eat that. I thought that was healthy. Hmm. And some things that may be healthy for one person are not healthy for you. For example, I have GERD, acid reflux. So I would love little cuties oranges. And I feel like I'm eating oranges. It's healthy. That's great. It's better than eating candy. They're sweet. They gave me that feel of sweet. I was so excited. But my reflux was getting worse. You know why? I can't do the citric. I can't eat those. So be aware of whatever is going on in your body. Eat to live, not live to eat. And your physical will be much better. I talked a few minutes ago about moving. Move, get up and move. If you're working at home, it is even harder because you're just there and you want to get done. So you're sitting all day. Build in breaks for yourself. It is not healthy to not move and to sit at a desk all day. So if it's no more than, okay, I'm going to get up, when I have to get up and go to the restroom, I'm going to walk around the house once, just while I'm moving. Make yourself move. Like I said, I put in the 15 minutes. Today I only got in 0. Some days I get caught up. I'm working, I don't do it. But when this is over, I'm going to go get some movement in. Find easy ways. You can find room for movement in your house. Like I said, there's even chair exercises on YouTube. There's a mile a minute, a mile exercise, walk away the pounds, just so many things. There's even for all the old heads on here, you can find Richard Simmons videos on Dancing to the Oldies on YouTube or in various places online. Find something creative. Make the movement fun now. It goes much better if you're doing something you enjoy. But Enjoy it or not, it's good for your body. Make yourself more mindful. There is a practice of mindfulness, and we're going to talk about that on another show, just what that is. But the part that you can easily jump into is um, just quiet meditation, being still, sitting still, just taking time to breathe, like we do in the beginning, being aware of yourself, being aware of yourself surroundings, making yourself grounded where you are, taking time to be still, and that is hard. One of the hardest verses in the Bible to live out is be still and know that I am God. Be still. Okay, what am I doing while I'm still? The being still and knowing I am God is doing nothing right now. And that part of that nothing is focusing on God, just being still. So it's funny for the physical and mental, being still and moving are both important. Being still, appropriately still, can be just as beneficial and important as moving when you're being still and focusing and being mindful of yourself, your surroundings, and the things around you. If you have any comments right now, drop them in. Let me know. If you have dropped them in, I'm not seeing them. And that could be more me than you. As I said, I'm trying a new platform today, a new way of doing this. And who knows? We'll find out. The last area I want to talk about is spiritual. Now, what's spiritual to one may be different for another. For me, it is my relationship with God. So I'm going to relate this section to that. Make your faith real. You know, a lot of people go to church, temple, synagogue, or some place of worship, and they go because you're supposed to go. They go because that's how you get to know God, is by going there. Well, make it real. Do you really know what you believe? You may go to church. Do you know what that church's beliefs are? You may be Baptist, Methodist, Spirit, Catholic, non-denominational, Buddhist, Muslim, and you're at a particular Jewish, and you're at a particular church, synagogue, temple, and you have an overall understanding of the faith. What about the specific location you're in? What do they believe? What do they think? Do you know? Every house of worship, regardless of the denomination or faith, each denomination can have their own spin on it. They can have their own view of looking at it because it's people. And that group of people may interpret things a little different. So make sure that not only is your faith real, but you know what they believe wherever you are. But making your faith real is making it where it's personal. It is not you going to a church because it is a Baptist church and you grew up Baptist, so you're Baptist. What does that mean? Making your faith real is about a relationship. It is about a relationship with God. It is about saying, I'm not just one who goes to church or wherever. I have a relationship. It's real, it's personal. Make time for your faith. You know, that's one of those things people start in the beginning of the year. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read the whole Bible in a year, which is a worthy thing to do. I am not knocking it. I'm saying understand the challenge it is, because in order to do that, you're going to read several chapters a day. On most of the plans, you know, you're starting in the Old and the New Testament, but you're going to read about 3 chapters a day. If you were reading 0 a day, and you're saying you're going to go to 3 to 4 chapters, 7 days a week, wow, it may be challenging. And we were talking about in the beginning with those SMART goals, setting realistic goals. Maybe your goal would be, I'm going to read the Bible in a year and a half. You spread it out a little bit. Because what happens when you get too far behind, it's like, well, I'll do it again. I'll try again next year. Or I'll start over at the beginning of next month because I'm too far behind. What if you gave yourself a little grace and said, I don't have to do it in a year. I'm going to do it in a year and a half. Again, I'm all about baby steps because the baby steps can be more realistic. And is the end goal that I do want to read the entire Bible because I haven't done it? Do you want to just read it and not get anything out of it? Okay, I read my 3 chapters a night. What were they about? I don't know, but I read them. What have you accomplished? So maybe if you take it slower and say, you know what, I want to do it in a year. I need a year and a half. Will you reach your end goal? But take time. Take time for your faith. Get to know your faith. Make it real to you. And it goes back to that be still. Be still in your faith and listen to God. Make it real. When you're making your faith real, you're going to do something. It's not, your faith isn't just for you. You got to show it. It says in the word, faith without works is dead. So, what are some works? What are some things you can do? Practice gratitude. God isn't a Santa Claus that you should just always say, gimme, 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 I want, I need. No, be grateful. Say thank you. Sometimes thank you is the most powerful prayer you can pray. Thank you. Be grateful. Spread love. Your faith is not just for you. Share some love with somebody. How do you do that? You can share love by picking up a phone. Call someone. Call someone who's ill. Call someone who may have lost a loved one. Call someone who's not getting out. Call someone you know has just been feeling blue. Call someone who's feeling good. Just connect with others. Show empathy when there are other people that you know that are going through things maybe you don't understand. Be able to be there and listen. Just listen, be in their space, and yeah, and that's okay. Being there and making your faith real, making it faith, making time for it. Join a Bible study. Maybe you're not doing any studying. It's like, I can't do it by myself. It's too hard. Great. There are online Bible studies. Churches have Bible studies. They have small groups. Our church, New Life Fellowship in Arlington, has, they're not growth groups there, but they have groups and you can go online and you can join one even if you're not a member of the church. And you can join something so that you can connect. Find ways to connect, and it allows you to connect with other people. Um, you be the catalyst to restore somebody's spirit with your smile, with your actions, with your words, with your deed. Spread kindness. You know, that's a hard one. We don't live in a real kind world right now. We looked at the events of yesterday and what happened on the Capitol, and it incites all kinds of feelings. None of those are peaceful or kind, or they don't promote peace, what you feel. They don't promote you wanting to restore someone's spirit. They promote confusion, anger, hurt, disgust. What does your faith do with all of those negative feelings? When you're making it real, keeping your faith real, get it to a point where you can even manage days like that. If you know someone who's having a really tough time dealing with that, that's the time to call them and say, hey, you know, I'm feeling this way. What about you? Talk it out, but put God at the center of that conversation as opposed to how unfair it was, which it was, how horrible it was, the way things worked out, which it was. But get in a solution oriented mode. What can we do with this? I don't know, but you find out. That's part of making it real. When we look at the last thing, take time to enjoy life. So I started off by saying we want 2021 to be wonderful. And that if you don't take time to plan things, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So you make your plans. Anything can happen to change them. 2020 taught us that. But you make plans and you have to make a plan to enjoy life. It is so easy to get caught up on all the other things. We can get caught up in making sure our spiritual life is right, our physical life is right, our finances are right. And we're so busy doing it, we're not having any fun. A lot of people missed out on fun in 2020 because you couldn't go anywhere, so it wasn't fun to be at home. And then you realize you had to create fun. You had to find things you could do to make life enjoyable. And I know some cities are closing down more. Houston is, I believe, restaurants have shut down again, and who knows what's going to happen in other cities. Your ability to get out may be hindered. And talking to my child today, he says, Mom, I don't know if COVID's ever going to be able to. He was looking at, we were talking about the stuff at the Capitol, and he said, now look at all these people. Then let's look at how many have on masks. A lot of them are done. And they're definitely not socially distanced. And they switched to something else. And he said, it's never going to be over. I said, well, I think it will. I think it will be over quicker if people did do what they needed to do, but we don't know what that's going to look like. So, in spite of all that, take time to enjoy life with the losses, with the sadness, with the isolation. Find things to make you enjoy life. Your 2020 wonderful starts with you. Cultivate relationships that are going to be healthy. We all have friends we can pick up that phone and talk to about how bad. Did you see that? Oh my gosh, are you watching the news? Look at what's going on. And that's good too. But can you, with that same person or with somebody else if need be, talk about, hey, the day I did this, I got outside, I walked, and talk about the positive things. Play games on the computer with other people. Do things that are just fun. If you're not out and about, there are ways to make it so that life is enjoyable. Life is too short not to be enjoyed. And there are billions of reasons not to enjoy yourself. There are also billions of reasons you can enjoy yourself. So if your 2021 is going to be wonderful, it starts with you. Enjoy it. Plan. Plan in those three areas. I chose spiritual, financial, and physical because think about it. If those three were all together, all three, oh, you're good because everything else can fall in line. Because if your finances together, you're not worried about that and you can have the things you want and need. If you are physically fit and don't have any health challenges, wow. But even if you have health challenges and you are managing them better, wow, you're going to feel good. You do good. If your spiritual life is better and you're grounded and your relationship with God is strong, you're unstoppable. So I chose those three areas to just highlight in this overview of some of the things we'll be talking about in 2020 to say, when we look at our mental health, man, get those in order. I always like to end with a call to action. And the first is be kind to yourself. I've talked about planning and how important it is. If you haven't made a plan, it's not too late. And you don't have to make it just because it's the beginning of the year. It might be you're going through and maybe around March. I don't know where I need to go, what I need to do. Be kind to yourself. Make a plan. Be kind to others. When you're kind to others, I promise you, it turns around and you're kind to you. Make a call to somebody. Put a smile on their face. It'll make you feel good. Be in control of your financial, physical, and spiritual well being. Don't let it get out of control. That is easy to do. It's easy not to, when you don't have enough finances, it's real easy to say, oh, I can't do it with it. I don't want to. Mask up because wearing is caring. I know we don't want to wear masks, it's uncomfortable, we're tired of it. Wearing a mask can save your life or someone else's. So mask up. It can save your life. So this is Bronwyn with Thinking Thursday from Able Counseling and Consulting, and I want to remind you, as I always do, that mental health is health. Everything's a part of your mental health. If your finances, your spiritual life, or your physical life are out of order, it will impact your physical health. So think about that and remember that all we do, everything impacts our mental health. We want mental well being, we want mental health. Think about our call to action. Think about all the things that were said tonight. And I hope I see you next week. If you make comments, like most people honestly do, for some reason I was not able to see them. Don't know why. I'll work through that and move forward. But thanks for joining you, and I'll see you next week for another edition of Thinking Thursday. Bye, and have a great week, and make this a 2020 wonderful.